Welcome to Not Starving Artist, the podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Benson, money coach and equity actor. I am your financial cheerleader, here to help you build your financial confidence and have power over your money. The best part, no budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. I went from being a broke BFA grad having weekly panic attacks about money to a financially confident, wealth-building actor and business owner. Money gets to feel fun, simple, and sexy, and I am going to show you how. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we are going to talk about Black Friday, sales, holiday spending. We are going to talk about that, but we're not going to not talk about the election. I want to ground us to start here about why we're even going to move forward, talking about things like holiday spending and continuing to talk about your day-to-day financial wellness. So we're going to ground it into the why. And I want to share with you all something that a friend and I were talking about this weekend, because I've been doing a lot of in-person, in real life processing and grieving and moving forward, commiserating in real life with my community and my friends and over FaceTime with my family, because I'm taking an Instagram hiatus right now. I'm so glad of the timing of it and that I decided to do it, because what I've noticed happening is that back in, 2016, right? Like having deja vu here. In 2016, I would go into like doom hopelessness spirals from what I was seeing on Instagram, because I'm also prone to anxiety. And so that's what would be happening. Where now, because I'm off of Instagram and I'm doing that sort of processing with real humans who are close to me, who are in my immediate circle, it doesn't make the feelings any less heavy, any harder to move through, but they feel like feelings I can actually continue to hold, right? They're not keeping me in bed every day like they would have, right? And so I want to say that to say that I've been having a lot of these conversations of like, how do we process? And like with the crazy shit that is now happening in the world, like not just this election, but right, we've got global warming, we have a genocide happening, we have so much heavy shit that's happening in the world. How are we going to think about a Black Friday sale, right? So it's this crazy dissonance between the extreme micro day-to-day and still having to move forward in your life, and specifically with your money, staying intentional with your money, which can get so easily thrown out the window when it feels like the world is kind of crashing in around you, where like things are just going wrong, going bad, right? And so one of the things I was talking to my friend about this weekend is the big picture narrative that I want to share with you all that's keeping me grounded, then taking myself very micro in what I can do to continue to control like my immediate circle, my immediate corner of the world. So the big picture narrative that's keeping me grounded and like continuing to move forward, especially in, I thought I cried enough today. Like I cried this morning where I was like, okay, and I'm going to like process through that so that I'll be like, okay to be able to talk about this on when I record the podcast today. This election is extremely personal for me. I mean, even if it wasn't personal, this would still be super hard to move through. But as a woman myself and someone who has a trans sister, a lot of this stuff is really, it feels so hard to carry, and it feels like I'm having to hold so much rage in my body that I'm not used to. And so I'm having to process through a lot of emotions. There was a podcast episode a few episodes back about actually processing emotion and what that looks like and what that means. And it means letting your body feel emotions when it's not convenient, i.e. during a podcast episode recording. And so I'm having to move through that, right? And feel that rage in my body, that I'm not a rage person, right? I don't feel a lot of anger, but recently there has been so much anger and rage that's come up for me. And so having to hold that, right? And not just like see red all the time and like feel like I hate the world and I hate what's happening. Like hate is such a heavy feeling that makes it impossible for me to keep going, right? For me to keep doing what I feel put on this earth to do, right? And so the thing that is grounding me is this belief that what we have been doing, right, what America's been doing, how the political system has been functioning, how the economy has been functioning, just how we as a society have been functioning, and how it's not working. We've been trying to fix it and make it better, and it's not working. And so this idea that like things are going to crumble and fall, and it's going to have to be a total destruction of whatever we thought was going to be what it looks like in the future. Like, it's all gotta crash and then be rebuilt. And this is on a bigger scale. Like, I feel like as artists, those of you who are in creative industries, we're feeling this way about the creative industries too, of like, wow, it fucking broke. It's not working, right? It was working and then it broke, and now it's crashing and burning, and we're gonna have to rebuild it. And we don't know what the rebuilding looks like, but like and whatever spiritual, religious, energetic belief you have about the world and why we're here, I believe that like there's a reason we're here at this time, right? And so this idea for me that like whatever cosmic whatever is happening, there is a reason that I or this thing, the energy, the universe chose me to be here at this time during this transition to help rebuild and make whatever this new thing is supposed to be. That like there's an empowering energy of it's gonna be hard. And I feel like a lot of us feel like we're looking down like a really deep dark tunnel of whatever the light is gonna be at the end of the tunnel. We can't quite see it yet, right? And so in order to keep moving forward through this tunnel, having to know that like there is something that we're building that is going to be better in the future. So that's like the meta narrative that I've been thinking about. If you're interested in human design, or like you have a bent towards spirituality, or you're looking for like more on this like specific energy, one of the people that I've been getting this energy from, and she articulated it really well. I don't know exactly what podcast episode it was of hers, but her name is Jenna Zoe. She runs the My Human Design app, and she has a podcast called My Human Design. And she talks a lot about like this new paradigm, being the transition crew, going into this new thing, this new better thing, but we're going through a dark time right now first. It's really helpful to have that context, right, to help move us through what feels like a very dark and hard time for a lot of us. So with that being said, right, it feels fucking heavy and it feels fucking hard. And I keep getting hit with waves of it, just like I know so many of you all, right? Like it's hitting us in weird, different, inconvenient times, like, and you're still then having to go to work and having to make money and having to like put food on the table and also like enjoy your life. And like, also if you're a creative, like, it feels so silly to be like, okay, I'm submitting for an audition right now, like weird, but you still have to move forward, right? So having that context and then going way down then into the micro, okay? And this is where it brings us to like holiday spending, right? Because the holidays are coming. We're not going to not buy gifts for our loved ones. We're not going to not celebrate, right? You're not going to not do your holiday travel that you have planned. Like, life is still going to have to move forward. And so with this, why I want to keep talking about the day-to-day money management, financial wellness, why it's still so important is because even though this feels like this big monumental moment and thing that we're all going through, we have been having to navigate big monumental shit for so long now. This is our stasis. This is our new normal. And however unfair that is and however hard that feels, like, trust me, I have been going through it too. I have been having to feel again, like this rage and this anger that I've been having to feel through, right? That I'm not used to, of like, this is so unfair that we can't just have like a normal life where we get to pursue normal acting careers, whatever that means, right? But like, this is our new, whatever this is, it's not going to be done in the next 2 months, right? No matter what happens, like, this is life now. And so it's like having to I'm trying to think of an analogy here. Like, when you get sick and you're like, okay, I'm gonna take a week off of work, right? Because I'm like physically sick. But then if you, I don't want to use an illness example, but like, okay, then let's say you have a chronic illness that is incurable, or you have like chronic pain. Like, let's say you have knee pain. Let's do this. Knee pain versus like breaking your knee. So like, let's say you break your knee and you have to have surgery and you like have to go out of commission for like 2 weeks. So you take off of work, you give yourself a total breather, and you just like, life is not normal. You're just like, you kind of tap out, you do what you have to do during your 2 weeks of healing. That's a different kind of thing than if you have chronic knee pain. Right? And like, let's say this is like incurable knee pain. You have chronic knee pain. I mean, you can't just be taking heavy duty painkillers every single day for the rest of your life, right? Like, you can't be taking Oxy for the rest of your life because you have knee pain. You also can't like take off of work for the rest of your life because you have knee pain. Like, the knee pain is valid, but there comes a time then when this becomes like a chronic ongoing thing where you have to figure out how to continue to live life alongside of it. And I'm sure I'm speaking to people who have chronic pain, like you have had to navigate this already. And so I'm using this analogy because it's felt like, okay, like pandemic, election, big monumental things, of course, for us millennials, right? Like 9/11 happened and then it just didn't stop. And so all of these big crazy moments have been happening, but like it is kind of the stasis that life just got weird and crazy. And so if this is our new stasis, we can't just Xanax ourselves up. We can't just go into YOLO, fuck it, who cares about my money? We can't just go into, well, who cares about my health? I'm just going to lay in bed and eat junk food all day. We can't go into like short-term comfort and moving through hard things energy. We have to go into, how am I going to like long term now acclimate to this new climate, right? To this new world, to this new way of being. And that also could mean like you make some changes, some like big changes in your life, right? But also, what if it looks like very micro day-to-day things that are going to help you acclimate to this new stasis, okay? So then coming back to money, right? You can't just go into YOLO, fuck it, I don't have the space to think about it until life feels easier, right? Until life slows down, until life gets less busy, until things in the news get less crazy. Like that time isn't gonna come. So you have to figure out how to continue to navigate your finances while stuff like this is happening, okay? And so what that looks like, and like this is, I'm just on a soapbox now. We'll get to holiday spending, but I'm just gonna keep riffing here. This is the whole reason I created the systems that I created for money management, but also why we have to add in mindset and emotional work too. Like, this is the whole core of Not Starving Artists, is that if your money management strategy can't continue to work during an election week, your money management system is wrong. It's bad, right? If it can't follow you through a week when you have surgery, if it can't support you when you're having like a really bad depressive episode, if it can't work for you when they run out of Adderall at every pharmacy near you and you can't get your prescription, if it can't work for you when you're having like a death in the family where you have to go buy a last minute flight to go to a funeral, if it can't, these are all real things that have happened to me and my clients and people out there. Like, if your money management system can't support you during those times, like not even just still work, but can't actively support you during those times, your money management system isn't working, because so much of our life is chaos, busy, random, unexpected, whatever. It's not consistent anymore. Even if you've got a 9 to 5, the kind of stability and consistency that people with 9 to 5s used to have, that is not the same now, right? And so that's why the money flow method is created like it's created, where you only actually manage your money once a month. And then the rest of the time, you're just being intentional about how you're feeling about your spending. And you're just popping into your bank accounts to look at one overall number. And I go deep into this money flow method. I have a full training on it inside of my training portal, which all of my one-on-one clients get. But like the actual system, that's what it's built for, right? It's built for the crazy. It's built for the chaos. It's built for the fluctuation, right? And it's built to withstand weeks like this where you may have not been able to like cook for yourself because you've been so overwhelmed. It is there to, your money's there to support you and buffer you if you do need to go and like make some impulse purchases, right? Just to get a little bit of the dopamine. Or you do want to like take a flight to someone that you really care about and want to see and want to go be in person to like just love on them together in real life during this time or during the holidays. Like your money system should be able to support that and not like in a like, well, okay, but you'll have to spend next month to make up for it. No, like you should have money in, and this is what the money flow method helps you do. It helps you put money into savings buckets for unexpected travel, for weeks when your anxiety is at an all-time high, right? And you just like can't eat what you cooked and prepped in your fridge. You have savings set aside for that, but also your day-to-day money has room to buffer you for if you do need to go and utilize your money to literally support your mental and physical health when things have gotten crazy or hard or sad or whatever, okay? So this is why financial wellness is so motherfucking important that you continue to be intentional about even when things get hard, okay? And so we're going to talk about holiday spending right now because on the heels of this election, going into the holidays, I felt it myself. In my my Money Monday email series that went out this week, if you are not on my email list, I switched to doing a weekly Monday newsletter, which is why podcasts are now coming out on Fridays. So every Monday you'll get a newsletter from me where I'm giving you tips, I'm giving you musings, I might do like a video email one day, who knows, but it's this past week, the Money Monday newsletter was about how I've been feeling the impulse to impulse spend recently, because I took away my buffer of Instagram. And so another buffer, which is impulse spending, wanted to like fill the void, the vortex that I created in my buffering, in my coping mechanisms, right? And so I'm clocking that. So I'm feeling, someone who does this for a living, I'm feeling that impulse and that itchiness. And I know that all of you are going to be feeling that too, of just like, we're just going to say fuck it through the rest of the year because it was already hard. It got harder. And now just like, we're just going to wait until 2025 and hopefully we'll be able to get our shit together then. But what's going to happen is you're actually just going to make yourself a worse problem to have to clean up in 2025. And it's not going to feel any better to have to do it then than if you just stayed intentional now, right? About how you're spending and utilizing money throughout the holidays. So first thing, when we talk about the holidays, a lot of the spending that happens is on gifts for people and then the sales that happen. Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's not even like actual days anymore. It's just like the next 2 months are just full of sales all the time and they just like call it Black Friday, but it's like not. Do y'all remember Black Friday, the good old days when it was just 4 a.m., you would get up and you would go stand in line at your local Target. My friend and I would do this. We put like turkey hats on and we didn't have anything to buy. We just liked the fun experience of going and waiting in line, and we'd like buy a pair of socks or a candle and just like enjoy the Black Friday experience. The good old days. Anyway, those don't exist anymore. It's all just online and it's all just 2 straight months long. So when we're thinking about sales and presents, those tend to be the 2 biggest areas where money just evaporates into. And the other thing, third category is just the random like moments that you want to have. Like you want to go, like you walk past Bryant Park and you walk through and all of a sudden you've left with a pair of earrings, you bought a hot chocolate and you bought lunch and you just spent like $70, right? But it was just like a random moment that felt really festive and that you wanted to have. Or your friends want to go out for drinks, and because you all have had really hard weeks, you end up getting like 6 drinks, right? And then all of a sudden you've spent $80, right? So it's those sorts of things as well. So I want to talk about, first, I do have a podcast episode called The Holiday Money Planning Guide from 2023. So if you go back into the podcast list, October of 2023, you'll see the Holiday Money Planning Guide, and it'll walk you through how to make a holiday money plan for your money for the holidays. Holiday money plan. And it'll walk you through exactly how to plan financially, but without feeling like you're on a budget, like you're restricting, right? Like you're having to like track everything and categorize everything. There's a way to plan that you don't have to restrict. So like, let's even reconceptualize what planning even means. In the money world, planning has been equated with cutting back. But you could plan to spend more if you wanted. You could plan to spend exactly what you want. You could spend exactly what you want and just like decide beforehand that that's exactly what you want, and you're going to feel so much better. Because you're not going to feel this guilt of like, well, I tried to spend less, or I wanted to see this in my bank account, but whatever. No, you're just planning for exactly what you want to see in your bank account at the end of the holiday season. And this is where you have to be honest with yourself of like being realistic. I even had to, when I did my holiday money plan for this year, I was trying to do like $200 less than I knew I actually would spend. And I had to be like, bro, add $200 on there. You know you're not going to spend just that amount on the holidays this year, right? Because I was also factoring in how I'm currently feeling. And I know I'm going to need a little bit of extra spending to buffer me during this holiday season. So I'm planning for that. So I don't get stressed when I look at my bank account in January and be like, I spent more than no, shut up, bro. You plan for it, right? Like that's the thing about planning is so you don't shock yourself when you look at your bank accounts in January. That's where the nervous system dysregulation comes, is being shocked and surprised. It's like you spend and you don't look at any of your statements, and then January you pull it up and you're like, what? I'll say, right? It's like, no, you did that though. We can avoid all of that by just making a plan and deciding what you want to spend. Even if you don't spend any less, I would rather you spend the exact same amount and decide beforehand that you're excited about spending that amount versus saying in your head, I want to spend less, and then not really spending less throughout the holiday season and then feeling guilty and shame and frustration that you spent that much in January. Like if you're going to spend the money, feel good about spending the money. Don't feel bad about spending the money. Because when you feel bad, that just leads to shame, which then leads to like a binge restrict cycle, or it leads to you needing to like comfort and buffer what you're feeling. Like feeling good is the antidote to impulsively doing shit with your money. So let's feel good about what you want to spend. So when we think about the holiday planning and when we think about holiday sales, when you think about the presents that you want to buy people, I want you to utilize the wish list. Again, I talked about this in the Money Monday newsletter about creating a wish list for yourself of all of the things that like come up on your Instagram ads, or you see walking through the holiday market in Bryant Park, or you know, you're walking through Target and you see something, or like someone shares a link with you, whatever. Anytime you see something and you go, I want to buy that, I want that, you're going to put it on a note in your notes app and you're going to create a running list. And this wish list, you're allowed to buy anything you want on this list. The only rule is that you have to wait 30 days from the day it goes on the list until you're allowed to buy it. So what this does is it pulls you out of like the urgency or the emotional thing that you're feeling. That's actually what the purchase is about, not the actual thing. That's what leads to regretting your spending, right? Is the emotional or the urgency or the sale or whatever that's there. So That's the first thing it does. Second thing it does is it pulls you away from like throwing a toddler temper tantrum because you're telling yourself no, where it's like, no, we can't have that because we have to be responsible and we have to put money into savings, okay? And you're talking to yourself like you're a little kid, and then you end up rebelling against yourself and be like, fuck you, I'm gonna buy it anyway. This is where the fuck it blackout comes in, where it's like you're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to do the adult thing, and because you can't talk between like the toddler temper tantrum and the adult trying to do the right thing. There's no communication line between the two. You black out, you go into toddler brain and you go fuck it and buy the thing anyway or do the thing anyway. You want to avoid that at all costs. So what this wish list does is it allows you to tell yourself yes without actually buying the thing in the heat of the moment, right? And then like actually 30 days from now, the stuff that still excites you on that list, go buy it because you're actually excited about the thing, okay? So what you can do with this wish list, you can use the same principle for gifts you want to get your family and your friends, whoever you buy gifts for, right? Do the same thing. And I want you to create, this is a great thing, like throughout next year, create a running list in your notes app of all of the gifts that seem really great for all of the people in your life that you buy gifts for. I literally have an app or a note in my notes app that I do this for, where I have my mom, my dad, my sister, and my partner. And all year, anytime I see something or hear something that I think they'd like, I put it on my list. So then when it comes to the holidays, I'm not panicked trying to find them something at the last minute. And I also already know what I'm getting them. So it actually forces me to have to like breathe. Because once November 1st hits, I'm like, oh, the Christmas things, let me buy all the presents and do all the decorations. So it has me breathing and being like, okay, let's wait for mid-November when those Black Friday sales start to drip out to see if there's anything on this list that I can get at a discount, but like I know they're gonna love it because I would have bought it for them at full price. Use the wish list principle for all of the gifts you want to get your people, because what this also does is it allows you to see how much you're actually going to be spending on all of your people in total, and then you get to decide, do I like that number or do I not? Okay, so similar thing with Black Friday, with sales, with Cyber Monday. What these marketing teams want you to feel is that this price will never be seen again. This is only one time ever in your lifetime will it ever be this low. You need it now. That's what they are paid so much money to make you feel. So the fact that you feel that way around holiday sales, that people are paid to make you feel that way. It's normal that you feel that. So we're going to acknowledge that. We're going to clock that. And then what we're going to do is you're going to use the sales to your advantage. So you're going to take your wish list, like your wish list that you've been creating for you and for your people, and you're going to utilize the sales for anything that's on that list, okay? What you don't want is to get sucked into things that you wouldn't normally have bought at full price because you're just excited about the discount amount, the 40% off, the 70% off, the buy one, get one, right? You want to utilize these sales to your advantage rather than the sales taking advantage of you, okay? One of the things that I like to do as well is like throughout the year, I also use my Amazon Save for Later cart as another form of a wish list. So like if I see something that I want, like I've had LED bathtub lights in my Save for Later cart for like 6 months, and I have them in my cart, and they'll be a joy purchase at some point. Maybe I'll get them for Christmas this year. They're like one of the things I sent to my partner on my Christmas list. Do y'all do Christmas lists? My partner and I send each other Christmas lists. Is that something that other people do? I don't know. My family did it. Now we do it. But I have them in my cart, and so I know that like if they drop to a certain dollar amount, I'm going to get them, right? Because I know I've wanted them for so long and they've been in my cart for ages. There's just other things that have been like more on the priority list of like really wanting certain things. So I haven't pulled the trigger on them yet. But if I see them drop below a certain price, I'm like, that's so amazing because I know I already want them. I'm going to use that sale to my advantage. And what it also does is Amazon, I mean, other stores do this too, but they will inflate the price right before the sale so they can say it's like 50% off when really it's only like 15% off. And so I actually am able to see the fluctuation with all of the stuff in my cart. So I actually know if it's a good deal or not, because these things are sitting for a while and I'm letting my desire for them build up, right? So I don't get swindled by a sale. I don't get swindled by a markdown when it's not really a markdown, right? You don't want to get swindled by these, especially by Amazon. None of us need to be getting swindled by Amazon these days. So creating a wish list in your Amazon cart and then being able to see what sales are actually to your advantage and which ones aren't, okay? So what I want to say, like overarchingly, when you're thinking about holiday spending and when you're thinking about buying things on sale, when you're thinking about spending over the next 2 months, I want you to stay as present as possible. And I want you to put as much time and distance between when you decide you want the thing, or you decide you want to buy the thing, or you find the perfect present, and then when you actually buy it, I want you to put as much time and space in there as possible, right? Because a huge part of where we go wrong with spending in the holidays and spending when we're stressed and spending when things are busy is it's like, now, urgency, gotta do it, speed. Nothing good happens with speed like that, okay? So the more space you can put in your spending decisions, the better. And let this be a fun process. Let it be so fun for you to create that note in your notes app. Let it be so fun for you to create like lists for all the people in your life of the things you want to buy them and how much they're going to cost. Let it be fun for you to go out one weekend and go Christmas shopping and pick out all of the stuff that you want to buy all your people, or you go to Bryant Park and you pick out the things like the treats that you want to buy and the things you want to eat, and then the next weekend have a second outing where it's like your first outing was the picking and the choosing, and then your second outing was when you actually buy the things, indulge in the things, purchase the things. And how fun that now you get 2 experiences where you're getting dopamine from holiday spending instead of just rushing and having to like choose and buy and get and whatever, right? That's where the consumerism comes in. That's where like rampant consumerism we've taken a turn because of the rapidness, because of the urgency. So let yourself enjoy desire. So I've known what I wanted to get my parents for probably about 4 months now. It's been sitting in a virtual shopping cart, and it wasn't until yesterday when I actually pressed submit payment, right? And bought the things. And I'm going to have so much fun wrapping them, and I'm going to see them at the beginning of December, and I can give them the gifts. But, right, like I was able to get so excited and even letting myself be open to other ideas for them that maybe came across, but that space that I allowed between when I decided what I was going to get them and when I actually bought it, and then when I actually get to give it to them, that space has created so much enjoyment for me, so much joy, dopamine for me from one spending purchase. Okay? So the more you can stretch it, and I've been doing this for myself when it comes to like those festive moments, right? Like I keep bringing up Bryant Park. It's because I just went there this past weekend. We saw the tree hoisting, which was so cool. Like the Rockefeller tree, it gets delivered and it's empty, and like they have to turn it upright. So we like saw them attach the crane and like turn it upright. It was so cool. But we went to Bryant Park right after that. So we had like a very festive day. But we literally walked through Bryant Park and we were like, I want to eat that. I want to drink that. Oh, I want to go into that little booth. Oh, I definitely want to come back and maybe look and like buy one of these 2 things. And then we're going to have another moment where we go to Bryant Park together and actually indulge in those things, right? There's a couple of different like restaurants and coffee shops that we're like picking out the places we want to go and then letting ourselves sit in the desire between then when we actually go and do those things, okay? So moral of the story, space, breathing room, and reminding yourself, if you need to give yourself a mantra this holiday season of like, nothing is that urgent, nothing is that time sensitive. Like when your brain starts to be like, now, taking a breath and being like, I'm going to like even pull out my journal, or I'm going to like sit and just take some breaths and ask myself, what is the worst case scenario? What is the worst case scenario here that my brain is telling me I need to buy this thing right now? I'm seeing it at 40% off and I want to click buy now. What is worst case scenario if I don't buy now? Okay, well, it's going to go up in price. Okay, what is it actually going to go up to? Okay, it's going to go up like $30. Okay, $30. Does $30 warrant the urgency I'm feeling in my body right now? Okay, let's even flash forward. I know there's going to be a Labor Day sale. I know there's going to be some sort of President's Day sale. I know there's going to be some sort of fucking, Independence Day sale, right? In July. These sales are coming back. So even if it's not $30 cheaper, okay, it might be $20 cheaper, right? So is $10 and a couple of months waiting between now and when I might get it, is that actually warranting the amount of urgency that I feel in my body? Sitting with that and asking your brain those questions, like, what's the big deal? Why are we yelling? Talking to yourself, I mean, you don't have to talk to yourself like a toddler, but sometimes you do have to talk to yourself in a way where it's like, hey, what's going on there, girl? Right? Like talking to your brain. Hey, are we okay? Is there something else going on here? Are we feeling something else going on here? Is there something else we can do besides buying these 3 candles at Target that will help placate whatever feeling you're feeling that you're trying to avoid? Or that, you need some dopamine. Can we give you some dopamine another way? Right? Like I know people are talking about like dopamine menus. I don't know. I have feelings about that. I think this is a bit of a hot take. I think we make like self-care way more like aesthetic and complicated and expensive than it needs to be. Like as annoying as it is, we know what we need to do. We know that like literally going and putting your eyeballs in sunlight, which I have not done today, and I'm like looking out my window and I see the sun is shining and I'm already cranky about doing it, but I know that going to the park and putting my feet in the grass and getting my eyes in that sunlight is going to make me feel a lot better after feeling through a lot of stuff this morning. So I'm going to go do that. I didn't need to like create this PDF on Canva of a dopamine menu of all the things that I can do to make me feel better and I'll get to check one off. No, I just need to go outside and put my eyeballs in sunlight. It's not cute. It's not aesthetic. And I'm not giving myself this other task that's making me feel accomplished about getting dopamine. That's not actually giving me dopamine. If you have a dopamine menu and it's working for you, that's lovely. I'm really happy for you. But when we're thinking about pulling yourself out of the urgency and the impulsive nature, when you're thinking about spending, you know what you need to do in that moment to help make yourself feel better. I also said this in my newsletter this week, that as annoying as it is, sitting in silence for 5 minutes has been one of the best tools that I've given myself over these past few months. It avoids you from blacking out, right? Because you're having to just like sit in silence with your thoughts, with your body, and with your emotions. And you're not stimulating, right? You are completely unstimulated. And the 5 minutes, I hate it so much, but it's so good. It's so effective. And you just sit there and then you're going to be moved to do something different. Right? Like I will probably, if I am actually avoiding going outside right after I record this podcast, I'm going to sit for 5 minutes. And after sitting bored and unstimulated for 5 minutes, I'm going to want to go outside and get my eyeballs in sunlight, right? Or like if I have a craving or like that impulse to buy a thing and I sit for 5 minutes, it's like I'm not going to feel the same kind of urgency I did 5 minutes before. It's easier to like make a conscious decision when you give yourself space. Give yourself space. As we're approaching the holidays, it's like I feel the speed and the urgency ramping up. I just feel like everything gets so like, and that's when you make the worst financial decisions. So just be aware of that. You don't really need to do a ton of things different. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not going to go on a budgeting rant in this episode. That is for another episode. I have done that in so many episodes past. But this is why budgeting is really easy to overcomplicate and get real sucked into and then to just like throw away a week later. When really all you need to do is just intentionally in the moment, anytime you're managing money, speak to it and be like, hey girl, hey dollars, can't wait to see you later. Like, thank you for buying my coffee. Come back and bring your friends. I've got space for you. I just opened a new Ally savings account. I got room for you back at home. Come bring your friends for dinner. Like, talk to your money like that. But then also stay intentional of like, do I actually want this? right? Giving yourself that space. That is all you need to do. If you do just that for the next 3 months, you will watch your bank accounts drastically change. You will watch it happen. Compound that by like adding in the money flow method and having some specific savings goals, and then having buckets in your savings account to get you excited about those savings goals, learning about investing so you can actually see how you add all that in. All of that is just cherry on top of the cake. Cherry on top of the, what is that? Icing on top of the cake, the cherry on top. I was conflating those two. If you just, for the next 3 months, are just intentional and aware, and you avoid a fuck it blackout, and you add in some space in between like when you decide you want the thing and when you actually buy the thing, bank accounts will look totally different in 2025. So if that's all you take away from this episode, and letting yourself feel your feelings as you continue to move forward, right, in these next few months, then great. Your bank accounts are going to look banging, tight, so good come 2025. Okay, I am sending you all so much love right now. I'm right there with you. We're going to keep moving forward, and I am still here. We're going to keep talking about money. Every single week, you're going to get a podcast episode every Friday at 6 a.m. You're going to get a newsletter from me every Monday, Money Monday. The link to join the email list, if you're not on my email list already, like if you didn't get that email on Monday, you're not on my email list. So fill out the form. The link is in the show notes. So you'll be able to fill that out and get on the email list. So you'll get the next email on Monday. So you will hear that from me. I also have some workshops and things coming up. So because I'm taking off Instagram, the way to find out about the things that I'm doing will be via my email list. So I have a couple of workshops that you'll be able to sign up for free coming up in the next few months. I'm partnering with my business bank, Novo. I'm one of their subject matter experts for Q4. So I have a couple of workshops I'm doing with them that I will be announcing very soon to my email list, and other things that might be coming up. Again, will come through my email list. So there will be other ways for us to engage and chat and connect with each other. And again, I am still working with one-on-one clients. So that's all happening behind the scenes. If you have been interested in working one-on-one with me and want to chat to know what that would look like together, what a one-on-one container would look like for you, for your specific lifestyles, your goals, your struggles, what you want out of your money, book a sales call with me. So we'll get on a sales call. They're completely free and they're no obligation. We get on a call, we chat, I ask you about what you want. I line out a plan of what we would do together to actually accomplish those goals, to make sure they're accomplishable, right? And so we can feel each other out to make sure we're a good fit. That's what a sales call is for. So you can book one of those and then we can get started. You can get started working one-on-one with me before 2025. So I will hold your hand through the holidays financially and get you feeling so good to go come January 1st, 2025. We can get you on the runway to feeling good in the new year. And if you have any questions, email me, get on my email list and reply back. I don't have Instagram DMs right now, so let's chat and email, right? Like old school DMing. Have a great rest of your week. And again, sending you all so much love. I will talk to you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Come join me on Instagram for more on how to build a simple, sexy relationship with your money. My Instagram handle is @NotStarvingArtists. And if you want to dive deeper with me, head to the show notes to learn more about one-on-one coaching. If you love this episode, subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend that you want to get rich with.